Hi, I'm Zach from thingstheydidn'tteachmeinhighschool.com. One of the biggest issues that I see old and young men alike having is the inability to tie a necktie. From a wedding to a job interview to a Halloween costume of a drunk Japanese man, tying a necktie can be a very important and simple task that will help you put your best foot forward in many situations. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to tie two different knots. The 4-in-hand, a very simple knot, and the much more complicated and much nicer looking full Windsor. The 4-in-hand knot is known for its simplicity and for, well, its ugliness. I want to stress that this knot isn't going to be your best bet during an interview, but it is the easiest to master if you don't have time for learning the more complicated Windsor knot. To tie a 4-in-hand knot, start by placing the necktie around your neck, with the skinny end of the tie slightly shorter than the fatter end. The exact length that you'll need to place the tie varies depending on several factors, such as the width of your neck, so you may need to play around with this to find the right length. Once you feel that your tie is a decent length, start by wrapping the fat end of the tie around the skinny end twice, making sure to keep the front of the tie facing outward. Twisting the tie mid-knot will result in a very sloppy-looking final product. After looping around the skinny end twice, pull the fat end behind the center of the knot, making sure that the front of the tie is still pointing away from the knot's center, and pull the slack to the front. From here, simply tuck the fat end of the tie underneath the second of the two loops that you made earlier and pull the fat end tight. From here, it's just a matter of straightening out the knot and you're good to go. Except, maybe not. If you happen to be left in a situation where your tie is at an acceptable length, but the skinny end is longer than the fat end, then there are a couple of methods with which you can manage the extra length of the skinny end. One of these methods is to actually tuck the skinny end into a loop that exists on the back of most ties and pin it into place. The other method is to tuck it in between the buttonholes on your shirt. Either of these methods can leave you with a very professional looking final product. Our second knot is the full Windsor. I personally consider this knot to be the bread and butter of the necktie world. It's by no means the fanciest, but it gives a nice symmetrical triangular knot that adds to a very professional look, which is much more appropriate than the 4-in-hand for events like a wedding or a job interview. Again, the first step in tying this knot is to adjust the length of the two ends so that the skinny end is shorter than the fat end, with the exception being that being a bigger knot will need a lot more slack on the fat end, so adjust accordingly. Once you feel that you have a good length, loop the fat end of the tie around the skinny end, pulling the excess up through the hole near your neck. Then, wrap the fat end around the back of the knot, always making sure to keep the front of the tie facing away from the knot, and from the front, feed the fat end back through the hole near your neck. Following the same direction that you just looped the tie around the neck hole, wrap the fat end around the outside of the knot and feed it through the loop on the opposite side. Once you feed through your excess, tuck the fat end of the tie underneath the loop that you just created and tighten the necktie. You should be left with a very nice looking knot. You always want the end of your tie to reach around where the belt buckle is. If your tie is too short or way too long, then unfortunately the best thing for you to do is to untie it and retie it all over again, adjusting the skinny and the fat ends until the final product lays around where you want it to. As a comparison, here we have the full Windsor that we just finished, as opposed to our 4-in-hand knot. I hope this video was able to help you, and if the art of necktie tying interests you at all, and if you're a little braver than I am, there are a couple of even fancier, better looking knots that you might be able to try out, such as the Eldridge knot or the Trinity knot. As always, if you have any questions or any topics you'd like to see us covered in the future, please let us know. Happy learning!